Hello, everyone. Prof Sales
and Karen
coming at you with a show. It seems like we've been forever without a show. So here we are. It is Monday, January 23rd. I can't believe it. January's 2/3 over,
Yep.
75%, something like that. It's going really fast. So, but it is flying by, and it's a cloudy day here in Charlotte. It rained like you wouldn't believe yesterday.
Yeah, it almost blew the roof off.
Yeah.
And in all seriousness, thoughts and prayers to Georgia. I think it was Albany, big tornado and loss of life and property, and it was pretty grim. So we're thinking about those folks today for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully we're going live here. We're not seeing us come up, which that's a little disconcerting. So hopefully this show is going forward. If you guys can hear us okay, let us know. Let us know if the sound's good and so on, because it says we're live, but hey, sometimes with Hangouts, you just don't know. Oh, you rookie, got the volume on.
Get it.
I probably got mine on too. Oh, there we are. We are up.
You have to refresh.
Refresh if you can't see us.
If you were in the chat earlier and now you don't, well, you wouldn't know. Actually, if
you're not hearing us. But keep talking.
refresh. I have willed it to be, so it is so.
All right, so lots to talk about today in the cover, so we'll get right into it. All right. Karen, somebody we know had a sale on eBay.
It was not just a sale. It was my first sale. Dun, 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 dun.
That was pretty good, actually.
Yes, I thought so too. And here's a pro tip for you.
Sorry, I had a phone call.
Not everybody knows, unless they're on the Facebook page, they didn't get my rant about all that.
Your rant, yes.
But or my celebratory post. Anyway, yeah, and I've already sold 50% of my inventory. I bet not a lot of people can say that.
She had 50% sell through with one sale.
Okay, so I only listed 2 things. But anyway, yes, we were, I guess we were supposed to have a show on Thursday and didn't. So that's why I thought I shared it with everybody. But yes, indeedy, I sold my first item and it was awesome. We were down in Columbia in a store and it was very surreal. You know, my phone went off all of a sudden, whatever, and it goes cha-ching. And I look at it and my first impulse was to be like, why are Jason's notifications coming up on my phone? And then it hit me. It was like, oh, wait a minute, that's me. And I kid you not, I screamed his name. I said, Jason! Oh, look at the little volume thing. It just went off the charts. So yes, wouldn't that be funny if that was the picture that YouTube picks for the video watch? Home Alone face. But anyway, I did. I said, Jason! And this is like I have any problem in public anyway, being a fool. But I think I screamed your name like, what, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah. And I thought something was really wrong. Like the building was on fire. You know, you were getting attacked by a pterodactyl. I mean, I had no idea.
The aliens had finally come to take me back home. Right. So no. So I literally picked up the phone and I said, ooh, and it even took you a minute because you're looking at my phone.
I'm like, is it burning her? Is it electrocuting her somehow? I didn't understand.
So yes. So I think I shared my appreciation for eBayers and their listing prowess when I had my own adventure in listing.
Mm-hmm.
And now for sure. I think I see why people start it and then never do it again.
Well, there's honesty.
Oh, I mean, you know, full transparency here, people. But it's very exciting. And the only drawback is I have about a week to get in my 50 listings. And that means I have 48 to go because I've done jack since I listed my first 2.
One of which sold. So you're down one.
So I have to kind of get on the stick, as they say, and list some more stuff. But it was awesome. And I was able to share it with, after I told you, I ran next door to the bin store to see if Tiffany was still there, because we ran it. Thursday was just an awesome day anyway, because we ran into Tiffany, our friend from South Carolina, my BFF, my new BFF. And then then the sale happened, and then we ran into Sue at the second store.
Right.
And that was the first time, and that was a cool story too, because this woman kind of walked up and said, "Excuse me, is your name Karen?" And again, my first reaction is, who wants to know? But I was not, so, and I have another new friend, Sue. So it certainly, if Sue's here, or if you're watching, Sue, I've been thinking about you with a smile on my face ever since Thursday. So that was very cool. I will turn the volume off.
No, that's okay.
So it was a great day. And yes, I sold my first sale. I need to list more. And that's that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
She was very excited, and I was excited for her too, because
Can you not tell?
That's a cool feeling when you sell that first thing. I don't really remember mine, to be honest.
And how long did it take for me to sell something? Like
just a couple days, a few days. It wasn't long, probably 3 days. And it was a buy now. It wasn't an auction. And
it was socks. And I think I posted 12 pictures of said socks. Just saying.
12 pictures of brand new, still banded socks.
That's me.
I'm going, you think you got enough photos? Maybe you need to create a second listing and refer people to that one with more.
Photographer's got to photograph. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, photographer's going to photograph. All right. So speaking of the Facebook group, let's talk about that a moment. The Rebels of Reselling is our Facebook group, guys. You can find a link after this video post to that group here in the chat. It's a very standard or common format to a lot of groups, I guess, but we're trying to really keep it positive oriented, trying to keep people only just focusing on, the positive aspects of this business and not whining and complaining all the time about crappy sales or eBay scamming them, or, a Nigerian prince took all their money, or whatever's going on out there. So, but I think it's gone well. We just hit over 300 members today. So thank you for that, which is an pretty awesome growth, I think, in the first, has it been a week?
Yeah, it's only been since a week.
So it's been a week, and the group is really growing, and there's definitely some great people in there who are willing to share their info. There's a topic too, guys. I wanted to ask you about that, and you can type in the chat, or you can even leave a comment later. I mean, do you think we should cut off the group at a certain number of people? And let me explain why. Sometimes when these Facebook groups get really, really large, they take on a life of their own. They require a lot of admins and moderators, because obviously 2 people can't handle it. And the group can kind of degenerate into a certain mindset that isn't really, shall we say, always conducive to helping you with your business and reselling. It's not because the group's large. It's just because that you get so many people. As you get more and more people in there, you keep getting the knuckleheads who shout the loudest and shout the most often. And they tend to drown out all the other voices eventually, because they're adamant about having their voice heard all the time. So if you think the group should be, if you think the group should be smaller, or rather should be cut off at a certain number of people, leave us a comment. Either afterwards or even the chat now, to say, hey, yeah, you should cut it off at 500 people or 1,000 or whatever the number is. I don't know if there's any magic number, but I have been thinking about that a little bit. I know you have too, just, how, because Karen said we should keep this small. We should, whatever small means. I mean, I don't know. And we're thinking about that. We hate to not let people in, but there are some reasons to keep it smaller.
Well, that's because I just love it. And the more things change, the more they change. Wait, no, that's it. But the bigger it gets, the potential for it to be different. And so far, like I said, the last time we were all together, we haven't encountered any goobers. That's going to be my word. It's my code word for not nice people. But so far, it's been very positive, and it's been a great mix of input. And that's been the coolest thing. And we're getting ready actually to do some new and cool things with the group. Facebook groups doesn't allow you to do much, but
right.
There are some opportunities for content. And what's been probably the most fulfilling thing for me for the group is that people are making suggestions on what we can do and how we can do it better. So we've got some ideas on some content that we're going to add to the Facebook group itself. Also some ways that members of the group can help support each other. And there'll be more on that posted. We're not going to talk about that so much here, but we're going to do some things on how the group can interact with each other. And
right.
And we're really excited about that. So.
Yeah. So, again, and people, and it seems like some people think we should limit it. Some people think, the larger it grows, the more complicated it gets. You can always block trolls. I'm just reading some of the comments. And yeah, so I don't know, guys. I mean, it's kind of a tough question to answer, but we have been thinking about it. And now is kind of the time to do it, to think about that, rather than we get really large and we have to say, oh, we're not taking anybody else, or worse, we're going to kick people out, which we don't really want to do. And we've pretty much been approving people for the most part. And anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. So what else?
I got a question.
Okay.
And hey, thanks everybody for congratulating me, because I'm new at this. But and I have to put on my glasses. Oh, and hi Patty. Don't forget to send me a message. Fishing for Love, FFL wants to know if I charge shipping. And the answer is no, I did not. And I did that on purpose. I took advantage of the fast and free option that eBay, and you have to fit the criteria for those that are new. But I purposely priced the socks a little higher, offered free shipping, and then did what else did I have to do? I think that's it, right?
That was pretty much it. Yeah, I think so.
I had to have, I don't know. I think I got hung up on the account itself because I didn't do the final PayPal link. Like I had the PayPal account, I had the eBay, and then there's, after you link them, then there's one final thing you have to do to get them together, but I didn't do that. But yes, hopefully that, really answers your question in like 200 words there. And yes, I'm addicted now.
Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Connect on Thursdays. You guys have probably watched some of the shows, the Connect shows, which have been a opportunity for you to meet new resellers, people who are, when I say new, I mean maybe new to YouTube. They're not necessarily new to reselling, although there have been some of those too, people who are fairly new. And we're going to keep doing those shows, guys. If you're interested in being on that show, you don't have to be a big time reseller. In fact, we'd like to have people who are newer or sort of intermediate, so we can kind of get, a feel for what your issues are and how you run your business and what successes you've had. So if you're interested in being on the Connect group, send me an email at profsales44@gmail.com. And that's also in the About section on my channel, profsales44@gmail.com. I don't think on the mobile device you can see that About section, strangely enough.
No.
But that's what it is. And we will try to fit you in, guys. And it's been a lot of fun. We've met already 6 new people, and they've gotten a lot of great results out of, had a great time, and we will do more.
And I would remind everybody, if you're watching, just like our live show has a format, we kind of catch up and do a little things before we get to the actual topic, and you should just expect that when you watch it.
Right.
The Connect show, it's not professional YouTubers. It's just me, it's you, it's Rob, it's Patty, it's people that are in the trenches doing it. They don't necessarily have a YouTube, they don't necessarily have an Instagram, and they might, if I'm speaking to you and you think you might want to do it, you might not even have great ability to connect, but that's what this is. We want to highlight people that are doing it and not necessarily doing it well, but putting you in a position where we can help you do better. I mean, I think that's where Connect, that's where it was born, to put people together. And you don't even, when we plan the shows, Lauren and Lorenzo, for example, didn't necessarily have anything to do with each other, right?
Nope, nothing.
Probably polar opposites with what they do and how they do it, how long they've been doing it, et cetera. But it was just a great bringing together of people. And so that's the point. So if it sounds like something, if you can, if you have an iPad or a phone on your phone, what's that, camera on your laptop or whatever.
What's that thing that's recording us?
Yeah. So that's what it's all about. So we encourage, it's not just, it's open to everybody, really.
Yep.
And we just want to bring people together, and we want to showcase the beauty that there's a bazillion ways to do something, and our way is not the best way. Your way is not the best way. And I can't tell you how many times we encounter people that even have been doing it for 15 years. And then they say, oh my gosh, I sell shoes, Tino, but I never thought to do that.
Right.
Oh, what a cool product. I should get that. It costs half as much as the one I'm currently using or whatever. So anyway, that's enough about that. Connect rocks. If you're interested, send us an email. I'll put it in the chat here in just a minute, along with Rebels of Reselling Facebook group. Continue.
So Karin, we have 103 people watching. That's a lot.
That's awesome. I think that's like a record.
It might be. And we hope you guys are enjoying the content. And if they are, Karin, what do you think they should do if they're liking what they're hearing?
Okay, I'll do Andy Bernard. Why, in the spirit of things, you should probably smash the like button. Oh, that was different, wasn't it?
Wow.
It's the caffeine, people.
So hit the like button, guys, if you guys are enjoying it, or if you're watching this later, we do appreciate it.
Smash it.
I can't even remotely do it that way. All right, so let's talk about bin sourcing. Now, some of you guys know we have started sourcing the bins. We just actually got back from there today. And it's been going pretty well, wouldn't you say?
Except for today.
Except for today was a little, there was a lot of people there today.
Can we just say the circus came to town and they were all a team together and just elbowing you out of the way?
Yeah. I just don't move for anybody, but you get a little still kind of like, eh.
I'm not, it wouldn't be fair of me to go in and it just wouldn't. I'll just say there were people there. And they were taking up all the space and snatching up all the thingies. So, but we still, managed to eke it out. But yeah, Monday's not going to be my day for that.
Yeah, we didn't pull a tremendous amount. How many? I can't remember what we got, like 58 pounds or something like that.
Well, after he charged us for a stool, apparently, that was on the scale, and he didn't notice that we didn't put it there.
But we do see, guys, continued benefit to sourcing from the bins. I think I can get our non-jean items down to about 75 cents a piece. Pretty close to that. And we think we can, and jeans can be 205. So there's great profit margin there to get items that low. It allows you to sell at a lower amount. It allows you to ship things first class that are lighter in weight because they're under that 16-ounce limit, which saves shipping costs too for your buyer, which also makes you more competitive. So we're definitely looking at ways to blow up that bin sourcing. We've seen that you can pull hundreds of items a month out of a single bin store if it's the right store.
Yep.
We're even looking, guys, at like bin sourcing trips. Like we're looking over in neighboring states and thinking about ways that we could go between the stores and minimize any time we'd have to spend overnight somewhere. And we think we can do that and hit like 3, 4, 5 stores and really just load up trips, and pull, I don't know, probably if we hit 5 stores, could we pull 500 items? Maybe 450.
Well, yeah, not jeans only.
No, not jeans only, sure.
But yes. And actually we have at our easy disposal NCSC 6 stores. And then in our quad state area, I'm working on that list, but yeah, we could totally do those.
Yeah.
We can go down to Atlanta, over to Tennessee, back to Virginia, and then back through.
Yeah. So guys, if you have bin stores that are around you, and it's really easy to search for them, if you go to goodwill.org, well, what really is, if you go to goodwill.org, there's a little map that pops up on the first page, and it tells you ways to search for their stores. Turn off everything but the bins, and then you have to usually type a state or a zip code. Type a state. Type your state, see what comes up, and then just check with each of the stores to make sure they are bin stores, because we found that Goodwill's website is a little wonky sometimes in what they are telling you about this store or that store, but you just call the store and ask them if they're a bin store, and they'll come up. They're actually in red. I think it's a little red block for they're called outlets. And there's other types of stores that have bin stores too, but just for Goodwill, we know that one. I'm not sure about Savers or so on. Maybe they have a similar system. I'm not sure, but you can definitely start thinking about out-of-town trips, which is a great way to combine. Say you want to go on vacation and there's bin stores in, or sourcing in general where you're going, you could potentially write off some of the costs of that trip. As always, speak with your tax professional before you do that. But there's ways you can do things like that to minimize your cost and reduce the cost and still, impact your business.
Well, and I would stress, we had our word of the week was planning last week. And I can't stress enough, it's a little thing you can do. If you're planning on going to a new store or a new, especially out of town area, make a phone call. Because one thing, I know you told everybody to look it up on goodwill.org, but with this list that I'm putting together so we can do this bins thing and share it with Tiffany and whatever, I found that even on the Goodwill website, addresses are not updated. Phone numbers are incorrect.
Right.
So I've had to spend a decent amount of time. It's not too much, but it was about an hour just confirming, because I'm not going to drive 2 hours and all I have is an address. So
Right.
I'll call, and in our instance, my questions are like they would be any type of business. Verify the address. Obviously the phone number worked if you called them, but verify the hours. In this instance, I want to know the price per pound, if they charge sales tax, because about half of South Carolina does not charge sales tax, which is another bonus for us. And we
Right.
actually end up, it looks like our least expensive one is what, $1.19 a pound or $1.25?
$1.19, I think.
I think $1.19 is going to be our least expensive per pound price in South Carolina. Oh yeah, the $1.25 was North Carolina. That's right. And pretty much that's it. Oh, and I also ask if they have any sort of sale or discount day or club option. And some Goodwills, we've heard, we don't have it here in Charlotte, but some Goodwills you can buy a gift card either year round or during the holidays, and they'll give you a 5% bonus based
Yep.
on the gift card. Or they have Senior Citizen Day. We do have that. So I'll go shopping with my favorite senior citizen on Tuesdays and get a 25% discount. But so I'm going to ask questions like that just to know what I'm going into. So
Yeah, that's great.
it's just a little thing you can do to plan your trip, and because we all have phones and GPS, but maybe it's the old school girl in me, I don't know, but it's not always accurate. So just make sure that you are going where you're going. I'm gonna drink now.
Drink now. So let's talk about tables. So Karin and I have been taking photos on this kind of weird little furniture table we had for a while. It's weird dimensions because it's like 50 inches long and only 20 inches deep, which is kind of a narrow table, and about 29 inches high, I think we figured out.
Well, it's not a weird table. No offense, table. It's not a weird table if you put it in the foyer where it belongs.
All right, it's weird. But anyway, this table, but Karin had been using it for photos for a while, but we decided we needed some more tables in here in our office because we wanted to have a place to process shipments, to be able to, of course, do photographs, to check items in as we buy them, but it needed to be adjustable. So yesterday, and I'm going to try to pick up
this is going to be funny.
I'm going to try to pick up the Mac and not,
Drop it.
break the internet. We went to, where did we go?
I thought you were going to go this way. Oh, go that way.
Yeah. So you can see the table between us right there. It is a lifetime table. I think we paid what, $40 for it?
$39.99.
$39.99 at the big old Costco.
Yeah, we went to Sam's. They had one for the same price. It's a 4-foot, what do they call them? 4-foot folding table. That's what they're called.
48 inches long.
The one at Sam's was a fold in half. And I didn't like it because it wasn't a solid surface all the way and it had a little give to it. So that wouldn't serve my purpose. So these go all the way across and they're adjustable to 36 inches high.
Right.
28 inches and 24.
29, 28, something like that.
I think it goes 36, 28, 24.
Right. And the cool thing, well, they're 48 inches long, but the cool thing about that, guys, is that, let's see if I can get this back, is that these little tables, and actually we're setting the computer on another one. So the cool thing about having that 36-inch height, it puts stuff up higher, because what Karin figured out was that when she was taking photos, she's bending over to manipulate the jeans, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you bend over to take a picture and you do that 100 times in the course of, an hour, it hurts your back. it hurts your back. And if if you're hurting, if it's not comfortable for you, you're not going to be as productive. You're going to end up with, you're not going to be able to do it after a while. So just having this extra height on this table is a big advantage. And I would just remind you guys, like, that's a little efficiency hack, because you may say, oh, I've got a perfect table or perfect area for something, but examine that. Like, are you putting yourself in an ergonomically correct position to go through and do something over and over and over, like listing or photographs or whatever it is? Do you have a chair that is going to keep you from having, any issues? Is it cushioned properly? Does it have the right lumbar support? I mean, all these things are just kind of those sorts of little hacks that I think can make a big difference in your productivity. So we're glad we got them. I mean, $40, we got a couple of them. And the nice thing is, like, today we processed shipments on them. I had about 18 items to ship out. Mm-hmm. And Karin was able to go over to that table. I was able to go to this one. We could spread it all out. We could package them together. We didn't have to keep bending down or trying to do it in a chair on our lap. I mean, just the little things like that, guys, can make a difference just in how you run your business and how you feel about it.
Well, and we also thought that the tables, when we moved to the warehouse, it's some conformity. It's the same. So we can put them, once we get to an
right.
assembly line sort of thing, they'll be side by side, and we can actually get these again. Like the weird table, I can't reproduce.
Right.
And it's now very comfortable over there, and it has shoes under it and keys and purse on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, just, kind of consider that when you're figuring out, what you want your workspace to be like. It is important. Like, I'm already realizing we pushed this desk this way in this room. It's kind of hard to show you guys, but the front door is over there, and we have this big window that brings in natural light here, and behind us is the kitchen, and over there is where we take photographs. But we pushed this desk this way so we could bring another processing table right here, the one we just got yesterday, because it's nice and convenient. Now I've got like a whole half of my desk that can be cleared off, and then I've got another whole table space. So I've got a lot of workspace here to manipulate product, to pack things up, to measure something, whatever I need, and it just, I don't know. I mean, it's like anything. When you have a project to do and you don't have the right tools, you can do it, but it's just so much harder. It's so much easier when you got the right tools, guys. So, figure out what makes sense for you and your space. Spend a few bucks if you need to. Your back and your feet are going to thank you when they're not killing you, mm-hmm. and they will if you're continually, I don't care if you're young, old, doesn't matter. So just always think about that. So we're pretty happy with that. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Luke? Yeah, we saw Luke was talking about a desk, and actually Luke has a standing desk, which is pretty cool. We just didn't want to quite spend $240 on it because we knew we were going to need more than one.
And we got two.
Right. But the desk that Luke is talking about, IKEA, is pretty Mac Daddy. There's awesome. That term again.
Oh, Mac Daddy. If Yvonne is in the house.
And it is awesome. But,
it was adjustable up to really high.
Yeah, you can make it really high, which is cool.
I wanted it, Luke, but 80 for 2 sounded better. And we'll probably actually buy more of these. I really like them.
Yeah, they're nice. I mean, they're nice little tables. They're pretty sturdy, and they adjust really easily. So, okay. All right. Excuse me. I've got such a congestion today. I don't know what's going on.
We have lots of questions.
It's a little bin dust. Do we have a question we missed?
We have lots of questions.
How to better photograph purses? No idea.
Well, we're gonna
how's that for an answer?
How to better photograph anything. And we've got a bunch of videos that are coming up, like pre-recorded type stuff that we're gonna address again, where we can talk about, my best advice for anybody that's going to take a picture of anything, whether it's purses or whatever. I would ask, what kind of camera are you using? What's your lighting like? More light, the better. And here's the biggie. When you're taking your pictures and you go back and look at them and you've cropped them and you've edited them, adjusted a little bit to make it look like, looking at those pictures, would you buy it based on the photos that you just took?
That's good.
I mean, what's appealing to you? And that sounds maybe like a wonky kind of question, but it works. I mean, that's the eye that I use when I take pictures all the time. And it's probably why, sometimes I'll take more just because I can, hey, 12 pictures, it didn't take me any extra time to do it. But yeah, the biggie is, would you buy it? And I think you know the answer. You need to be really honest with yourself about that. And I think you know the answer to that.
Yeah,
one.
pictures are, just in general, pictures are not something to skimp on, especially if you're selling clothing, accessories, because people can't touch it, feel it, try it on. All they can do is see the photograph. And, you know, so that's, your photograph is probably going to sell it or not.
Well, it's the hook. And then, you know, you got to provide cool, correct information.
Yeah, specifics, and of course the price and shipping and terms and all that's part of it too. But if they don't like the picture, none of those other things matter because they're not going to buy if it's clothing because it doesn't look good to them, you know. So
lots of questions about the bins too. Fishing for Love wants to know if we go to multiple bins per day or just one. Well, since we like to spend a couple hours in each one, what could we do? Like the most
we could do two. I don't think we could do three
because they're a little far apart.
Yeah.
We might be able to do three if we did the one and then came back. But two would be it. And you kind of get over it by then too.
Three would be
pushing it for
three
us.
would be a 12-hour day. Probably. But by the time you factor in travel and going into each one. So it would be a long day.
Can it be done? Yes. Do
Sure.
we do it? No. And you know, Rob Krillin points out that not all bins are the same.
Right.
And they're not as tame as ours have been. You're absolutely right. We had friends, Tiffany and company went to the bins in North Charleston and their iPhone got pickpocketed. You know, note to self, put it in your front pocket, leave your purse if you have one in the trunk.
Yep.
You know, there's things you can do to help with all that.
Yeah, and that's just always good tips, whether you're at the bins or the mall or the beach.
And Judy asked how we're going on our goal. And Judy, to answer your question about my $600, I am one multi-pack of socks into that goal. So I have made.
She's got a ways to go.
I have made $10 toward my 600, but I have 3 weeks to go, and I am a fourth quarter, fourth down, one to go kind of girl. Is that a good reference? Anyway, I'm not worried yet. I'm not stressing it. I'm in the 11th hour, come through, Hail Mary, whatever.
Yep. So, and I think I've listed, I had a different goal. Mine was a listing goal, and we're going to talk about that. That actually ties in with the topic of the video, guys, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, how do you scale your business? And the conventional wisdom is you scale an eBay business by listing more. Now, there's other things you can do. Don't get me wrong. You can sell more expensive items. You can reduce your cost to buy those items. Those are all valid too. No argument there. But if you really want to scale your business in a way that, you know, is tried and true, you're going to list more, because when you list more, it's like you're dangling more bait in the ocean. You're more likely to catch a fish if you throw in more bait. So how do you list more each month? How do you set a goal? So this is kind of what I've been thinking about, guys, and you guys can take from this and use it if you want. I think it's really simple and a simple way to think about it. And this is kind of what I'm going to be doing going forward. I think in terms of this listing goal, at least to a point, we know we're going to need employees before too long to really do that.
Oh, hey, and somebody asked about employees. February.
Yeah, right. February is our goal. But we'll get to that probably in another show. I don't know if we'll get to that today or not, but
it's still in the works. Got to hire.
Yes.
February.
And that there's some accounting or tax issues there too. This is what I would recommend you do, guys. If you want to scale up your business, I would use this 10% rule, and it's really simple. All right. So you start on February 1st, which is coming up in what? A week, more or less, a little more than a week. You start on February 1st, and you get up in the morning, you check your eBay listings, and you write down how many you got. And let's say, just for math's sake, it's 100. You've got 100 items listed. So you set yourself a goal that by March 1st, a month later, you will be at 110, which is a 10% increase. All right. So that on the face of it seems really easy, because all you really need to do is make sure you have 10 more listings done at the end of the month than you did the previous month. But where people fail, and where we have failed on multiple months, is you forget about you're going to sell things that month. right? You're going to sell items all month long. So let's go back to our hypothetical example. You've got 100 items listed on February 1st, and you want to be at 110 on March 1st. 10% increase. Very easy to figure out. Let's say that you also know that in January, you sold 20 items with roughly the same amount of listings. All right? So that means you're probably going to sell potentially 20 items in February. Now, you may not. You may sell more. You may sell less. And this is where I know some of you are going to get caught and say, but Prof, you don't know how many you're going to sell in the future. You're right. You don't know 100%. Nobody knows that. But it's a place to start from. And you've got to start somewhere with this idea of getting more listings up. So if you sold 20 in January and you assume you're going to sell probably around 20 in February, if you add that 20 to the 10 that you need, the extra 10 you need listed, that gives you 30. So that means that all things being equal, for you to add 10% to your listings on March 1st, you need to list about 30 items in the month of February to get there. And then in March, let's assume you do that and all those numbers roughly balance out and you're at 110 items now, and you want to add another 10%. So the next month, you're going to add 11 items because 10% of 110 is 11. And you may sell 20 again in March, but you might sell a few more because remember, now you've got 110 listings instead of 100. So instead of 20, you might sell 21, 22 maybe. So you set yourself a goal and say, all right, I'm going to sell 22 and I'm going to list 10 and I need to gain 10. So 10 plus 22 is 32. So I need to list 32 items this month, and so on and so on and so on. And that's really all you have to do to increase your listing total. Now, where it gets tough is when you get to the big numbers. Because here's what happens. When you're at 100 items, if you've got a reasonable amount of time, a listing an additional 10 in a given month is no big deal, right? Not a big deal. 10 items doesn't take that long. But when you have 1,000 items and you need to list 100, 10%, and you need to list another 200 for what you sell through, that's 300 items. And listing 300 items is a few more than 10. So when you get up to the bigger numbers that you have to list, you have to start thinking about, first of all, the 10%, there's nothing magical about that. You could cut that to 5 if you wanted. 5% growth every month in your listings is very respectable. If you can do that, you will build a business. Or you might need to bring in help, like I did. You might need to bring in help because, guys, you can't, to do that many listings on your own sometimes is really tough because it's not just the listings. You've got to go source that many items. You got to pack and ship all the orders they sell. You got to answer customer questions. There's a lot more to it than just listing. So you get into this, this time calculation. You say, well, I don't know if I can list 300 items a month because I don't know that I have enough time to buy that many, to photograph that many, to list that many, to pack and ship. The orders are going to come through. And that's where you guys start thinking about extra help or efficiencies or so on. And guys, this is just a way to increase your listing total. It's not speaking to your volume. It's not speaking to your sales volume. It's not speaking to your profit, your margins. I don't know those. You know those, hopefully. You know what you are making on something or not, how much you can buy it for, and those things, and how big of a capital budget you have. I'm just saying in general, if you want to increase your listing total, it's not that complicated to figure out how to do it. You just add the percentage you want, take the percentage, multiply the percentage times what you have listed right now, take that number and add it to what you're likely to sell in the next 30 days. And you can base that somewhat on how much you sold the month before versus how many listings you had up. And if you don't know how many listings you had up in the previous month, take a guess. Take a guess. Like you can kind of take a guess and average and say, well, I didn't list that many last month. And I sold 50 and now I'm at 300 and I might've listed 10. So maybe I had 360 when the month started and whatever, but that's not really that hard to figure out. And then as you do that, you have it each month. As you start doing this, you're going to have it each month and you're going to reach that bottleneck where you're like, man, I cannot list anymore than I'm doing right now. Like I am stretched thin. And that's kind of your cap. That's your capacity. I mean, that's where you're going to have to rethink and think, well, I can maybe maintain this for a while, or I can move in a different direction. I can bring in help. I can look for more efficiencies, or some combination of all those things. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. Just a little simple, quick tip on a Monday. And
Prof math.
Prof math. We knew we needed some prof math. All right.
And King was talking about how he's going to get, to his goal, and how maybe it's a conspiracy. But you have to, I think everybody that's been at this for a while, and as technically a newbie, I have mad respect for people that do this full time, but it's a lot of work. Like it's one thing, it's easy to come up with your number, right? But it's a whole other thing to get there. And it's a strategy. So you have to figure out, once you get there, what does that look like? What do you have to do? Good friend, Kelly, has actually she's a mom, an eBay working mom, and she has somebody that comes twice a week and watches the kids for a block. And it's a small block of time, but it's enough to put her over. And so far, if Kelly's in here, she could comment on how much it's been helping, but that's been a boon to her business, because it's made a huge difference. And I like checking in with her. So once you have your number, then plan on how you're going to get there. Just having the number is certainly not going to increase you by your 10% plan, right? You have to kind of look at what that looks like to you, whether it's another person or whatever. Yeah.
And King had asked, and I answered in the chat, about why do we want to increase the listing total instead of focusing on making more money? Because that is a way to make more money. It is. I mean, if you have more listings up, you're going to sell more things. The exact number, that's kind of hard to know, but you're going to sell more things. And assuming that you're selling them at a profit that is acceptable to you, a margin, you're going to make more money. Because by that definition, you might say, well, I've got this great item that I can buy for $10 and sell for $100. Great. But are you going to tell me you're only going to list one? You could. You're going to do $90 of profit, gross profit a month. I mean, you can, but what if you listed 10? Maybe it comes in different colors or different sizes or different different years, or, so you have to do. I mean, it's all part of the same equation, that the more you list at the better margin, which indicates things you can buy for a cheaper price, times a better sell through, is going to multiply your profits faster and more. But, you can push different levers in that equation at any given time. You don't have to focus on just one. You can like with us, we see great benefit now in sourcing from the bins, because our cost to buy things is dropped dramatically. I mean, I'm looking at maybe a 70% reduction in my cost of goods. That's a huge number. I mean, that is thousands and thousands of dollars in my pocket every month. And I don't have to do anything different other than change the way I source, like change where, not what, somewhat, but not totally, but where more than anything. But I'm still going to list a lot. Like I wouldn't go to the bins and just buy one item because it's a good margin. That doesn't make sense. So I realize there's benefit in all those things. But, and there's not a right or wrong answer for a lot of people here, but there's definitely different ways you can approach the problem of how do you make more money? How do you do it in a quick amount of time? How do you do it the cheapest way possible, the most efficient way possible? Those are all different questions, and they'll all get you to hopefully having a more productive, profitable business. So anyway. All right. So let's talk about, I think we already did that.
We did that. Your spreadsheet.
Oh, the infamous spreadsheet. Yes. So I'm going to share that with you guys. I don't think I've shared in a couple shows now, so I'm going to try to pull that up if I can.
And of course, the photos are not updated. I'm taking pictures. Trust me.
She is. They're not updated, so don't give Karin any grief, because then that indirectly gives me grief. And I don't need that.
They could just don't give me grief. If you want to give grief, just give it directly to him. That's easy enough. All
right. Okay, so here's the last few days, guys. This is just jean sales. We definitely have been pivoting a little bit and selling other items. So you can see here, not a tremendous amount of sales the last week or so. The month of, let me move this up so I can I hate it when this thing is right here. Gosh, it's in such a weird place. All right, hang on. I just need to size this a little bit. There we go. I couldn't get to it because the stop sharing button was in the way. Here's the jeans by month. We have sold about 140 this month, which is okay. Nothing great. That's not a great number, I would say. We're going to end up around 7 a day, maybe by the end of the month. This number will keep growing right here, the 4.5. 3,300 in jean sales this month. Cost of goods is, decent. Net 1,400 on the jeans, still about a 41% margin. Our net per jean has crept up a bit, probably because we've sourced more at the bins, which is a cheaper jean to some degree. And we've sold about 34,000 in jeans since we started this back in July, which is decent. But I think we're going to end up, if these numbers hold, we're going to end up selling maybe somewhere around 60,000 in jeans over the course of a year. $60,000. I don't know how many jeans that's going to be. Maybe, I don't know. We'll probably sell maybe another 1,000, maybe 2,400, which is okay. But we really haven't pushed the listing totals up that high. So I want to show you guys the 100 listings because we haven't looked at that in a while. As for those of you who don't know, Karin and I did a series of videos back in the middle of November, and we listed 100 items in a day, and we kind of walked you through some of our processes and what we did. And I've been tracking those jeans. There was nothing special about these jeans. They weren't like some great brands that we picked or sizes. They were just 100 jeans that we had. And we've been tracking how they've been doing over this time frame. So I'm going to share that with you. And so we did that on November the 16th, which was just over 2 months ago, 2 months and a week. 68 days, we've sold 58 of those jeans for a gross of about $1,440, which is a 58% sell-through of those. And we've sold 0.85 per day. I think this number is pretty good, guys. Like, if you could tell me I can sell an item and I can sell, 0.8 of one every day, 8.5 basically, I think that's pretty good. So I'll be curious to see how this goes. And we're definitely not selling a lot of those. It seems like we're selling maybe 1-2 a week now at this point. There was kind of a big slug at the beginning, and then they sort of tailed off a bit, which was kind of what we expected. And we'll just see how it goes. But 58 out of the 100 in 2 months, I don't know. You can decide if that's good or not. But I think it's decent for clothing when you consider a lot of clothing resellers say they have a 0.6 or a 0.7 sell through, and these jeans are a 0.85. So there you go. All right. I'm going to stop sharing because I don't want to share with you people anymore. Let's see. What else? Oh, wow. I hit both of those together.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know, right? There's probably questions we missed, so sorry about that if we did.
Well, Krillin asked us if we bring our own tools and props, and I asked for clarification on that.
Tools and props to what?
To the bins. And I said that in our case, and actually we have, Krillin, I should correct that a little bit. We do bring, like, by just virtue of I keep them in the car, the handheld, the reusable grocery shopping bags, because we haven't encountered one yet, because all of our bins to date will provide you with a big garbage bag. The first one, our local one, gives us a big black trash bag. And we literally, I think we posted a picture of me, like, dun, 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 with 3 of these huge honking bags. But they'll give us those bags. And then somebody made a joke about, your big, and it wasn't, kind of was a joke, but phone, you got to have your phone so you can look things up on the fly if you want. Hand sanitizer. And some other things. We don't wear gloves. I know that's random. People always ask that.
Purple Lily asked, do you charge a sales tax on each of your sales?
Oh, good question.
Okay, yes, but there's a caveat there. Do not charge sales tax unless you register with your state to set up to collect sales tax. I'm not an accountant or a tax expert, but I can tell you that if you charge sales tax and you're not set up to do that, and you're not registered with the state, your business, you will get in trouble. So do not do that. So don't put that on there unless, and you can go to your state's website. Usually your Secretary of State has a website, and you can learn about sales tax and what the requirements are. And in North Carolina, you have to get an account. And I have to remit sales taxes every month for the previous month. And it's a thing. So, do not do it, guys, if you're not set up to do it and you're not authorized to do it. Big no-no. So as always, talk to your tax professional on that one too, just to make sure that, and for the most part, you usually have to have a business to do that. If you're a hobby seller and you're selling a few things here or there, that's a different situation sometimes. But again, talk to your professional. Mm-hmm. But anyway, sales tax. But I always say, people ask me that, I'm like, yeah, but I have an account with the state and collect it and remit it every month. And, and you have to and you can set it up through eBay. eBay allows you to put in sort of a blended rate for your state. They don't allow you to break it out with county rates, which is annoying because different counties have different taxes and transit taxes, and sales tax is a whole nother issue. Yeah, don't even get me started. Krillin says you need a certificate of authority. Yeah, basically you do. And I have one for my business, and I just caution people, don't charge it until you're set up to do it. And then once you do it, pay the state their money because it's not yours. Don't keep it. Bad decision.
And we don't use a resale certificate yet, right?
No. Let's see. Somebody asked about how many items you can list. And some people are answering that when you're by yourself. That's a great question.
2. I listed 2.
She's done 2. And I feel like she's really stretched to get those 2. That was, I don't know. That's a tricky question because it depends on so many factors. It depends on what you're selling, how intensive the listing process is, which I would argue when you start out, choose things that are not intensive to list.
Well, and do you use it for people that aren't just starting out? Do you use a template? Are you selling similar? See, I'm already talking. Do
you have your packing and shipping procedures down and your shipping cost down and what you're going to charge for shipping or not? Like how that's going to work? Like that creates more confusion than just about anything.
Oh, and eBay just raised over the last 24 hours, eBay has raised the shipping charges as we knew they would.
We noticed it.
Yeah, USPS. So it has officially gone up. So, and I think in part of that, there might be some glitches in the system because we had something sell that it literally put for everything padded flat rate. And this was a puzzle, like a bigger box item that would never go in a padded flat rate. So just be cautious of that. If you are shipping in bulk, just sort of check the next couple of days to make sure that it's assigning the correct amount, because we ran into it. And then we ran into something else where it was going international.
It might have been okay. Well, it was going to a military base. That might have been okay. But the puzzle, I'd sold this puzzle that was about this big, and it would have been first class because it wasn't super heavy. And for whatever reason, it came up as a padded flat rate. I don't believe that because this was an individual listing. I didn't bulk list this item with other items. So it's really weird that it did that. The great thing was that even though obviously I could not fit it in a padded flat rate being that big, but the amount that I had to pay first class to ship it was still within the padded flat rate amount that I charged. So I ended up being okay because fortunately it didn't go too far away. Like if that thing had gone to Alaska, well, I guess actually it was just over a pound. Actually, now I think about it, it didn't go first class. It went priority, but it was like between 1 and 2 pounds, but it went fairly close. So it wasn't a huge number. Otherwise I would end up paying probably double what I had charged on it, which would have sucked, but it would have been on me. Let's see. eBay has lots of glitches. I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't eBay. It was USPS that raised the rates. Yeah, that's what we meant. But we're saying.
But it's transferred. eBay has made the switch now.
Right.
So they should be congruent.
Right. And I think
that was what I meant.
I think it went up. What did I tell you? It went up to 630. Was it 630 for padded flat rates now?
Is that the net?
No, that's what it cost me.
So it's the net.
Yeah.
It's not what the.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, FedEx raised their rates too. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. I know a lot of people have been talking about the Smart Post and, that option. I honestly don't know much about it. I have heard some people say that it's a nice secondary option or even primary option, but, basically guys, shipping ties into like your whole business model, whatever it is, whether you're part-time, full-time, a hobby seller, a massive, you've got to figure out shipping, because if you don't, it will eat you alive.
Well, yeah. And for new, and that's one of the bonuses that I have with, we joke about me being new to this. I've been doing it along with you for the last almost 2 years now. But we purposefully put me on the spot to do it solo without your help.
Right.
And we have friends that have just started doing it. And one of the biggest mistakes I think a reseller can make is just sort of putting it out there into the universe and assuming what it's going to cost to ship it, and then getting sucked into the whole fast and free and free shipping. And we always joke that, I won't name this family member, but a sort of uneducated family member in the ways of the world. When you mentioned free shipping and we were talking about maybe listing something for said family member, he said, well, it's free shipping. Well, yeah, but you have to pay it. Like if you offer free shipping, you're going to end up, it's coming out of your cut, if you will.
It still costs something to ship it.
And we've had it's happened too many unfortunate times to count, where a new seller puts something up, assumes what the price, or doesn't even consider it, the dimensions of the box or the weight of the item. And then they get to the point where where it's going to go if you don't limit whatever. But it gets to the point where item has sold. Now we're going to pack it and ship it. And oh my gosh, it's going to cost me $20 to ship it to Antarctica. And I offered free shipping and the item cost me $21 and I'm in the hole all of a sudden.
Right.
These are little things that you can, it's like, it's crossing your T's and dotting your I's, people. That's just how I'm wired. I like to do that anyway. But it's little things that you can do that will avoid, well, one, loss of money, which is kind of a big deal. But headaches down the road. Just, it's a little thing. Weigh it, and now we have this nice table that we can lay the scale out and do what we need to do. But weigh it first. Even, put it in the box that you're going to ship it in. If you're shipping jeans and you're shipping flat rate padded anyway, I'm not suggesting that.
You're going to know,
But another simple inventory kind of system is you put it in the shipping box. Some people actually put it in the box, close it up, not permanently, but just fold the tops of the box over. And that's what sits on the shelf. And then all you do is you go and you pick it and you go, and then you can put your packing slip in with it or whatever. But point here is it behooves you to weigh it and make sure, and then you can enter the correct information instead of guessing about it afterwards. You're costing yourself money if you're doing that.
And you can choose a way to ship it that's cheaper if you want, which might be a selling point for some buyers. They may see, like if you're shipping a phone case or something, you don't need to usually ship that priority mail. that can go first class. It's pretty light and it's going to get there fast, probably just as fast as it will with priority. And it's going to be, the cheapest method potentially. But it just depends on what you're selling. And you got to think about it from the buyer's standpoint. They don't want to pay any more for shipping than they have to, but they should pay for the shipping, guys. If you're offering free shipping, you need to have that cost included in the cost of your sale. If you're doing a flat rate or calculated, you need to cover yourself, guys. People are paying to have something shipped to them because you should not be paying that cost. If you do, you'll start eating up all your profit and shipping very, very quickly. And, it's not worth it. People expect to have to pay things to get things to them. I know Amazon offers a lot of free shipping through their Prime membership, but that's not free either. You're paying for a Prime membership. So.
Oh yeah. Always be wary of something. Nothing in life is free.
It's not free. Yeah. So.
It's costing somebody something.
And some buyers may not want to buy from you because you charge shipping, or your free shipping price is too high because, you had included in that $10, $12 on the occasion when it goes across the country. You're just not going to get that buyer. They were never yours to start with. You can't lose what you never had.
Oh, there's that.
Right. So don't even sweat it. You've got to protect yourself. that buyer, they want the item, they want to put it on a plane or a truck and get it to their house. It costs money, and it's going to cost them the money to get it to you. You're not the one who should have to eat that cost. They have to pay for it. So I always think, and I think most buyers understand that. Most buyers. And the ones that don't, I think are pretty few and far between. They probably get a lot of our attention because they're annoying when they come up sometimes.
The squeaky wheel. And, it's going to be interesting to see how the rate hike is going to, how it's all going to flesh out across the board, I think.
Right.
Because it's not just going up for us, it's going up for everybody. USPS raised their rates across the board. So I'll be curious to see how everybody, the bigger sellers, have to restructure or not, how they're doing business.
Yeah. Gypsy Hustler said, weigh everything before you do the listing.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yep.
And, if you're going to be selling a lot on eBay, I highly, highly, highly recommend you get a scale.
Oh, can we show and tell ours?
Yeah,
we have a
we've shown it
scale.
before.
It's a little cute one.
This is just a little Accutech. You can see right here, it can be cordless. There's also a power cord that goes with it, but it also can run on batteries. And you can see, well, I think you can sort of see it came on there. But this little scale, it auto shuts off too. It can hold up to 110 pounds.
Yeah, we
which
love
is crazy.
that scale.
And it'll cost you about, I don't know if they're still that cheap. When I got it, it was like 25, maybe 28 bucks on Amazon. Get it. I mean, get a scale. You don't have to get that one, but get a scale, one that goes up pretty high, and then use it.
One that'll zero out too. So
yeah, most of them do.
And for the newbies, what I mean by that is you turn the scale on. There's a zero out function where you can actually put the envelope on first, and then a piece of paper or two that would equate to the label and the packing slip.
Yeah.
And then that starts you at zero. So anything that you put on top of that is what your actual weight will be, right?
No.
Oh, then why did I talk about zero out? Did I do it I did it backwards.
Yeah. The envelope's included.
Never mind.
What you really want to do, what you really want to do, because the scale is not that big, if you've got a bigger item, sometimes you need to set a larger flat surface on top of it so that you can set your item on top of the scale and it's not drooping over the sides,
That's
especially
what I
with clothing.
Can we edit that out?
No.
Okay.
So you put your flat surface on the scale that you're going to use as a base, hit zero out the scale, then put all your packing supplies, your item, your envelope on top of it, and that gives you your true weight. So.
Yeah. And Mark's using real words.
Tear
weight.
That's what it's called, the tear weight. So
I just got carried away.
But you don't want to add, if you have to put a big flat surface on there to put something, so that you can weigh it accurate. You don't want to add that item to your weight because that's costing you more money. So you want to make sure you zero that out. But a scale is important, guys. I mean, you're shipping things. I mean, any company that ships a lot of things uses scales because shipping goes by weight. So just
you can't really guess.
Don't be a cheapskate. Buy a scale. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I thought you were about to bust a rhyme there. Don't be a cheapskate.
Yes. Anyway,
you'll pay a higher rate.
Yeah, and Mrs. ABB says make sure your scale's on a flat surface.
Yes, most definitely.
True. Which is why we have this nice big table up here. So yeah, you want a flat surface so it accurately weighs the items. Fortunately, with a lot of things we weigh with clothing, you can always add an extra ounce too, guys, if you're unsure. Like if something is like 9.9 ounces, or I guess if it's right at the limit, it's almost 10, make it 11. Just cover yourself. It's fine. It's not going to be that much difference in the price. And the post office doesn't care if you pay extra postage. They're happy.
I would rather just pay less. Can we just pay less?
You can, of course, but sometimes you get that weight and you're like right on it, and you're like, is it right on it, or is it just a little? I mean, they're probably not going to send it back to you anyway if it's close. But
I was reading a thread.
I don't want to chance it. So
I was reading a thread, and I'll probably get myself in trouble because I don't remember where I read it. But a fellow was suggesting, and it wasn't U.S., I'll say that, but a fellow was suggesting paying less for their postage because of how the system was set up, and gambling on it getting there. Because otherwise it was going to cost too much to do the extra whatever.
That seems dumb.
That's like a crapshoot. I don't think I would recommend
I don't think I'd recommend that either. Krillin is mentioning earth science, which I don't even know what that means, but all right. What about if all you use is flat rate boxes, Prince of Peace Production says? Well, the flat rate,
Pop.
Huh?
Prince of Peace Productions. Pop. Go ahead.
Oh, so the flat rate, if you're shipping in a flat rate box, that's a set rate for that box. So anything that can fit in that box up to, I can't remember if they all have weight limits or not. I don't really use them that often, but pretty much if it'll fit in that box, you can ship it for whatever the rate of that box is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to pay, like, I think a medium flat rate is what, 11, 12 bucks, something like that now. I don't even know what it is, but so yeah, so no, you don't have to do anything there. But again, remember, you're paying that shipping cost.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's 12 bucks and your items all fit in there, but where's that 12 bucks going to come from, guys? Is it coming from you or the buyer? It should come from the buyer. It should absolutely come from the buyer, because the buyer is the one who wanted the item and they're the ones who need to pay the shipping, not you. So make sure you factor that in your cost, whether you do free shipping or you do a flat. Hey, if you're doing a flat rate box, you could say, here's a cost. If it's 12 bucks, say add 12 bucks to the cost of the item. There you go. You're covered. I probably maybe even do a little more than that, just for, your handling costs and so on. But anyway, Earth Science Tear. Okay, great. I didn't say Tear first. I think it was Mark, but all right. So
he's not a science professor.
That's right. I'm not. Hank says flat rates generally say up to 70 pounds, something like that. So there you go. And 70 pounds will fit the vast majority of things you're ever going to sell over the internet, by far. Miguel says, I save a bit using stamps.com. Shipping first-class items is significant. I managed to get the service for free. I think eBay gives you the stamps discount, though. But I could be wrong on that. Like, I thought I remembered that, like, the discount you get on shipping on eBay is the stamps.com discount. So if you're using eBay shipping, you're effectively getting the same discount you would get if you were on stamps.com. But someone else can chime in. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, how much is what?
I'm priceless.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sale. I just got it, like the shirt. This was a Ben's find. Yeah,
we were going to do another show and tell. Tiffany and I threw it at Jason and he's like, it won't fit me. So it's now mine.
So
I like to model my Ben's fashions.
There you go.
I had a whole outfit on the other day, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, because I've made a pact to not buy anything retail for the entire year.
I think we can do it.
I think so too.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for joining the show today. Great turnout. If you have a question or comment, or if you have show topics that you're interested in, I wanted to mention that again. Leave them in the comments, something you want to see a specific show about. And we want to do some more videos too, like, off show, not live videos. So basically, just leave me a comment there and say, hey, can you do a show about this, or a video about this? And if we can do it, we'll do it. If we don't know anything about it, we'll make it up. No, I'm just kidding. But if we don't know anything about it, we probably won't do the show about it.
Well, an email is good. And the Facebook, that's probably a better way to interact. It's more instantly gratifying.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's just an easier way to communicate quicker. But the email works, that's for sure.
Yep. And we plan on being on Thursday night, guys, with another 2 guests for the Connect show. So we'll give you a heads up on that. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Go out there and kill it, whatever you're doing, whether you're sourcing or photographing or listing, or just figuring out which step to take next. Own it. It's yours. If you don't do it, no one else will.
Own it. That's right. And it's your business. So nobody is going to care as much or work as hard as you are. So.
Right. And thanks for all the likes, guys. Smashing that like button.
Smash it.
All right. We'll see you guys real soon. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm Karin.
Saying
good sales to you.